Yo, Drake, what up? I got something to say.
Alright, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiera, also known as A Nurse Pain Purple Kisses. So I'm reviewing The Haves and the Have-Nots. This is season 8, episode 11, titled Wolves. Okay. So I kind of, on my last review, I kind of got into this episode a little bit too far because I watched them back to back. So I kind of overlapped them. So I kind of pick up where I left off, kind of. It opens up where actually they're still in the room. Hannah and Veronica are still in the room after they get through handing each other's asses, okay, after they get through fighting. So Veronica ends up, she's still on the floor, and Hannah ends up throwing her bag. She like throws at her and stuff, and she's just like, they're going back and forth still. And what I did forget was while they were still in the room, she's like, you don't know that I'm the executor of all this? And she's like, yeah. She said, but you can't just go around. She's like, well, I'm about to cancel on that loan. Then, Veronica starts kind of, sheeping up a little bit. She's like, oh, well, that doesn't mean you can go around and, just do stuff like this. She was like, she called him. She was like, she made one phone call. She was like, that, the $54 million loan, I want you to foreclose on it now. And so she's like, you can't do that. And so she did. And she was like, I already did it. And so that's when she go down the stairs and she's talking about how she's going to regret it, doing that to her. And they see Jim and David and the police, and they tell them to leave and all that. And so this next thing, you get the realtor, which is Sandy Malone, which is Sandy Malone's, it's his ex or whatever that he still stalks and thinks he owns, because they don't like black people, but he's dating a black woman, but he feels like he owns her. Like, she can't get away from him, and she's also scared of him. He's abusive. But they're outside of the house that Benny's trying to buy. I think I wrote down that it's $240,000. And Candace is also there with him at this point. So the woman's like, what you think about the house? It must be great for you and your wife. And he's like, oh, that's my sister. So, she's trying to dig for information. Like, that's your sister? He's like, yes, my sister. And so he's like, I think it's kind of small, actually. And he was like, no, it's enough for you, And so he's like, well, I want to look around again. So anyway, he kind of goes back and looks around. Then at one point, he ends up coming back and talking to Candace about it. And Candace like, just buy it. Like, you got the money and you got a tow truck, so you got business. Just go ahead and just buy the house. And he's like, oh, should I get a loan or whatever? Or something he's talked to her about. She's like, no, just go ahead and get it. And he's, she could peep that the realtor likes him. So, she's kind of flirting with you, And Candace knows that her brother is slow. Okay, we all know this. I really like him better when he playing on P-Valley. I cannot wait till P-Valley come back, because I'm going to review that too. But I like him better as Diamond on P-Valley. Benny does not do this man justice. Tyler Lepley, like, oh my God, that's another good thing for the Have and Have Not ending, because I hate how they portray him. Like, I mean, even I know he's acting, but it's just, people can tie the character with you. He's not a slow man in real life, but he plays the slowest character on the Haves and the Have-Nots. I just hate this. Sometimes I just want to scream, just shake Benny. So anyway, Candace ends up, she ends up finagling, and she ends up talking to the realtor, and she's like, I think she's getting the price reduced, so we need to speed this up. And she's like, well, how you gonna pay for this, Benny? The realtor asked Benny, because they're all three sitting there in front of the house talking. And he's like, I'm gonna pay cash. And he's like, and I also want to ask you, Candace, like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. So Candace, of course, she's like, conduct the business for him. Like, look, we're going to go get a cashier's check. Then, my brother can meet you. We can try to meet at a restaurant. We sign the papers there. We can do that. Because he ends up asking the girl out, and she's like, oh, I can't mix business with pleasure. And Candace's like, you know, my brother's like a Neanderthal to this. And I'm like, I'm happy you was there to help him and hold his hand through this. Would you not always want to be there to hold his hand and help him through this? Whew, honey, he just a meathead, child. I don't know. Let me get off Benny because I ain't got to deal with him but 6 more episodes, okay? So then while he's up here talking to the woman at one point, during this whole segment, Candace ends up calling she calls the airport. Or she calls the airport to check on her reservations. And she finds out she's on a no-fly list. So at first she's kind of going back and forth with them on the phone. And then she's like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Don't worry about it, I got it. She realized it had to do with Charles. So she calls Landon like, what you doing? Take me off this no-fly list. Like, stop. He cannot keep controlling me, Charles. He cannot keep controlling me and what I'm doing. And he's just like, Candace, come on, come on. I'm trying to help you. Just trying to talk her into, just not interfering with what he got going on. And she's like, take me off the list now. So I think he ends up calling and he's like trying to see how long he can get it delayed before she's taken off the list or whatever. Just, just some sneaky stuff. Gotta stop cussing. Then we get to Veronica. Veronica goes to meet Catherine in jail and she offers to get her off, okay? She offers to get her off if she'll forgive her loan that Hannah called the foreclose on. So she ends up saying, if I go to the stand, she's like, well, how are you going to do this? She's like, if I go to the stand, I tell them that I did it, I got immunity. And she kind of explained how she had immunity and stuff, but she was saying both of them in the end will be able to walk. Like, she can get her out and she wouldn't get charged either. So it sounds good. And Catherine's like, okay. But then Catherine's like, you know what? I just reduced the loan to $44,000. She's like, are you worth $10,000? She was like, that's the only deal. Like, she was not going to forgive that loan. If I was Catherine, I'd be like, shit, sound good to me. I would have made her sign some contracts. Like, we would have had to, like, make sure. I would have made her do it first. Then I would have forgot them loans. Like, girl, come on. Because you facing a murder charge of Jennifer Salison, okay? That you shot. And she know you shot. And she trying to find evidence that we find out later to go against this, okay? Because Veronica's not to be trusted. So she ends up calling her a snake. And they throw shots. And Catherine telling her she's like a man with that wig. And she's like, honey, you must, I know you don't have mirrors in here, but I don't think you want to talk about somebody. So they going back and forth with each other, honey, just doing the most that they always do. And she was just basically like, no deal. Then you got where Kobe, so last season, Kobe ended up going to Veronica's house, getting in the pool, trying to make a statement to Veronica about, how she, treats gay people, or, the LGBTQ community, just trying to make her see that what she's doing is wrong to Jeffrey. But he did kind of a little, he just didn't know who he was messing with because Veronica crazy. And Jeffrey's like, come on, get out the pool. She starts shooting at him. This was last season. So this season, he ends up coming up to Veronica's house because he thinks he's got a John. Now, this is like in the beginning when he's talking to Madison. He's like, oh, yeah, I got a date. I'm meeting up with somebody or whatever. He don't know who he's meeting up with. These people are all running across each other, but they don't know. Okay, that's the crazy part. So he ends up going to the house. Now, last time he was at the house, he went to through the back way into Veronica's house. He came to the backyard and jumped in the pool, which she says this when he walks up. So he ends up going up. He sees Tanner, which is Justin's brother. He opens the door. He's like, oh, this is a nice house. He's like, you ain't go to the bathroom, take a fresh up. He's like, yes, right this way. Runs into Veronica with a whole bunch of dudes around. Like, it's just all of them. So he know, like, what have I walked into? He thinking, like, what have I walked into? Kobe. So they end up, talking. Veronica starts talking mess to him, like, oh, you didn't even know that, this was my house because what the front of the house looked like. She kind of called him stupid or something. And, I'm like, dang, Kobe, that was crazy. Like, I know you had to, you put in addresses. It should show your history in there. But, I mean, he probably see a lot of dudes because that's what he does. So he probably seen a lot of dudes. He probably really didn't know. I don't know. Or the neighborhood should have popped up something. But I guess since he went at night, he just didn't know. I don't know. I probably would have been like, this something ain't right. So anyway, Kobe, he ends up, he ends up, you know, talking, trying to, you know, like, hey, look, you know, I'm sorry about all this. She's like, do you know how to drain my pool and get my pool clean? You know how much they cost? He's like, I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. Because at this point, he's scared. Because he can fight, but he can't fight all the men. He tried. He put up a good fight, though. So then that's when Tanner's like, come on, let's go. He's like, okay, let's go. So he holds his own for a while till the other dudes start jumping in. He start whooping them, but more dudes start coming in. More dudes start coming in. He start fighting them and stuff. They end up kicking him, beating him. He's bloody. He's laying there. And then they kind of back off. And so at that point, he's talking back and forth to Tanner and Veronica. And they're just talking about how he discussed them. And, you know, he want to leave his brother alone. And she's telling him, leave Jeffrey alone. Leave my son alone. And I don't care what you people do, but don't mess with my son. He's like, we're always going to be here. And, you know, and then Kobe's like, I'm sorry. And then he's like, you didn't say what you're sorry for. And he was like, I'm sorry you couldn't do it by yourself. I was like, okay, come on, to the end. You got these comebacks. Come on, Kobe. And then he's like, I just don't feel right. Like, something don't feel right. Like, I've been in a lot of fights, but this feels different. I feel funny. He's like, oh. So Tanner's like, oh, you know, all my army buddies, you know, all my guys, you know, they had spikes and cleats on their shoes. So while they're kicking him and stomping him, they're literally cutting him and stabbing him. So he's like, I just don't feel right. So then he's like, he's laying on the floor, he's going back and forth with them, and he's like, you know, y'all need to understand that your son is gay to Veronica and your brother is gay. And then he's like, you probably gay to Tanner. And then he blows Tanner a kiss. And then at that point, Tanner loses it. He hits him, and then he just knocks him out. And then that's when his friend, like Tanner's friend in the background, whatever, Big Goofy in the back, he's like, oh, you just got a notification, you got a message. It's about Justin. He's like, what about him? He's like, it's not good. And so he's like, okay, we gotta go. And so Veronica's like, we're not finished here. And he's like, oh, I'll be back, or whatever he says to her. And so then she's like, somebody get this shit up. Like, she's just talking about, you know, Kobe like he's nothing. And, you know, they end up picking him up and carrying him out. I don't know if he's dead or alive at this point, but she'll probably try to make sure he's dead. I'm like, this is just, and I think maybe Tyler Perry did these episodes as kind of like just a spotlight on Pride Month, because it is Pride Month. So maybe he's kind of, I don't know, maybe he's kind of doing some of this for this, you know. Anyway, next, what did Tanner, I think they ended up going on, no, next we get on to the scene with David and Jim. And so Jim ends up doing some research, but he's so dumb, like, but he ends up doing some research, and he's thinking, oh, well, maybe Veronica was looking for the gun that killed Jennifer Salison, so she can use that against us. Like, we all going down, because they all got into, you know, trying to cover it up. So he's like, you know, we got to stop her, because she either got it, she looking for it, or something, but she trying to get some evidence to bring us down. And so he's like, it's rich to the Jolly Company. So he's trying to talk to David to go try to finesse Hannah. He always sending David out. David is always like a little, like a do boy. Like, he just like his do boy. Like, you a grown man. Why are you running errands for this other grown man? Like, he just, the way he talks about Hannah, and just, Jim racist too. Like, he just lets him get by with a lot. Then I think lastly, he tried to like stand up and like, you need to stop saying that this racist. Okay, he just make you feel better about yourself. He apologized. I'm not racist, David. That's what they always say. I mean, it's just, I mean, if you're not racist, you ain't gotta announce it, okay? It should just show through. So anyway, he ends up going to talk to Hannah. Hannah, he finally gets there. He talks to Hannah. She does go and meet up with Hannah, talks to Hannah. And Hannah quickly sees through, she calls BS. She's like, this is something that you and Jim are trying to do. Y'all are trying to finesse me. Like, she didn't say finesse, but she was like, you know, this is y'all trying to scam me. Like, this is what y'all trying to do. Like, I don't care. Then he like tries to reach for her and stuff. And it's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Okay, back up. Step back, David. So David stepped back. You already hit me one time, Hannah. you already hit me one time. I'm like, why you talk like that? Oh, so Hannah, she's not for it. She ends up sending David on his way. Okay, like, go on about your business. Like, I don't care. Stop coming to me, interrupting my peace and my spirit, because you're trying to run errands for this man. Okay, do boy. Okay, come on. Just get on away from me now. You ain't on my radar. Oh my gosh, he just gets on my nerves. So, anyway, Justin's family ends up, well, his brother and Big Goofy, his backup man, they show up to the hospital. Madison, I've never seen a nurse that is at work behind the desk so much off the clock. This is Madison. He is devoted to his job, I guess. So he back there behind the desk in regular clothes. Like, I don't know what he's doing behind the desk. Like, because they really don't want you, like, logging into computer systems and things and the records if you're off the clock. Like, what's your purpose? Like, they see you logging in the charts and stuff. You can get in trouble for that. If you log into somebody's chart and you're not on their care team today, like, there's no reason, or, you know, there's no reason for you to be in there. So that's just so unrealistic. A lot of stuff I see in the hospital rooms are unrealistic on here. But anyway, it's for another day. It's a TV show, but I feel like he could do better. Okay, Tyler Perry can do better with some of these things. Anyway, so they show up to the hospital. They're like they're getting smart with Madison, and he's like, I'm his brother. Where's he at? Where is he? He's like, well, hold on 1 minute. He's like, you know, what are you to him? I just told you I'm his family. I just told you this. Just told you I'm his brother. So he's like, okay. So he's like, well, let me go get the doctor for you. Hold on. So they go get the doctor. Doctor comes out, and he's just like, well, he didn't make it. What? What are you talking about? What happened to him? The doctor's like, I don't know. And he's like, what? Well, how did this happen? I don't know. Was he at home? I don't know. He was in a fire. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. I was like, okay, well, you need to move on to the next person, see if he can help you, because the doctor's like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, it's an inside joke. Tanner ends up leaving there, and he goes down to the police station. So at the police station, police end up giving him answers. They're like, hey, you know, he went to he committed suicide. He went to the gas station across the street, poured gas on himself, went and sat the table with Madison and Jeffrey, set himself on fire, and was trying to grab hold to Jeffrey. So he's just like, my brother would never do that. He was like, well, it happened. Okay. So after he gets all the truth from the police and he's still in disbelief, he ends up going to meet his mom, and then they go to the morgue. This is my little margarita, y'all. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Anyway, so they end up going to meet at the morgue with the mom. Her name is Pearl. So Pearl over there, she crying. You see the doctor got him in the body bag, just in the body bag. He's burnt to a crisp. He zips him back up, and she's just crying. So Jeffrey, out of all people, shows up to the morgue. Like, I'm just like, how are y'all letting all these people through here, like, just to show up and just, you know, like, what? Like, how are y'all just letting people through here like this? And so he goes through, and he's like looking, and he's like, I'm just so sorry. And she's like, you're sorry? Look what you did to my boy. Look what you did to my boy. I was like, whoo, honey, Pearl. Honey, Georgia Pearl. She was like, look what you did to my boy. Okay? I'll hate you. And he was like, I'm just sorry. So then Tanner's like, come on, mom. So he trying to plot. So she ends up, Pearl leaving out, honey. She ended up wobbling out. And so then you see Tanner ends up trying to, like, play with Jeffrey. He's like, hey, I know you're a good dude. You know. You're a good man, you know. And he's like, thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey's like, thank you. And he's like, you know, you probably saved him. If it wasn't for you, he'd probably be dead. I told him, you know, he just kept denying like he didn't like you, but I told him he likes you and, you know, pursue you, go after you, you know, go do it, you know. And he's like, well, he stalked me. Like, he was, you know, stalking me. Like, again, Jeffrey, why are you here? Why are you with these people? Okay. So Jeffrey, he another slow. When I take that back, Benny might not be. sorry, I had a call. But Jeffrey and them kind of like tit for tat. So I'm just like, okay. So they end up, he ends up asking him like, hey, my brother had HIV. And he's like, what? He was like, yeah, I thought he told you. He said you had it too. You might want to get tested. And again, he's playing with him because this never came up. So then he's like, well, my brother wanted you to have something. You mind if I get your address so I can stop by? Remember I said Jeffrey needs to stop giving out his address? Here you go again. Giving his address out again. Okay? To the man who stalked him and sexually assaulted his brother. Okay? I mean, he ends up giving him the address. And he's like, yeah, I'll call you before. He's like, oh, you got my number? Yeah, he gave it to me. He gave it to you? Why? Why would Justin give you that number though? Why? Why you can't meet him somewhere else to give him this? So he's gullible. He's like, okay, sure. Let me know when you come. I'm just like, here we go. He's gonna come do something to him. And that really was it for this episode. I don't think I'm really forgetting anything. I hate that Jeffrey just doing this. You can see in the previews for next episode, Madison gets on to him and it's like, why are you doing this? Like why'd you give me your address though? Like, I'm like, come on. I want them to really educate Benny and Jeffrey before this season is up. Like, we only got 6 more episodes. Just please, don't let them go out like this, okay? Whew, honey. So anyway, that's my review of the haves and the have-nots. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and you can share it. I really greatly appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in my next review. Bye.